All right, let's go. Wiggy, 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 wiggy. Good afternoon. Huh? What a beautiful, glorious, outstanding, spectacular Monday. Hey, Rosado, Metal, how the hell's everybody doing? Where's all the Chief fans? I know it's a hockey podcast. Don't worry. Keep your pants on. Hey, JC. So earlier this morning, hey, Marlboro. Yeah, is that today, Rosado? Thanks for reminding me. Can't wait to see Kachukka chicken in a thumbnail. It's coming. It's coming. Now, today, earlier, I recorded every NHL team at the Four Nations break. I'm going to try to get it edited and out by this evening. If not, it'll be out early in the morning. So we'll just see. I tried a different process. I did them all in a particular order. So it might be a quicker editing process. She already won, Rosado. Thanks, bud. Appreciate that. Now, I guess, how many rounds, Rosado? I guess, is it 32, 64? What do they got going on there? Hey, Taylor. Going to be a long way to the 22nd. Well, we'll have some fun with the Four Nations, right? I mean, we still get to see our guys play. Get to see Brady and Matthew on the same team. That's going to be good. At least we don't have to go through the break with the Chiefs having had a three-peat. It's like 4 rounds, Rosado. Okay. So I guess that's 32, 16. No, that's only 16. 16, 8, 4. No, it's got to be more than 4 rounds, right? Steven says, good Eagles win, but Saquon really boned your bets. I bet. I'm sure. I mean, can you imagine having the safest bet of like Saquon 100 yards and a touchdown and just nothing? Nothing. Hey, Spaceman. iDog says the Super Bowl showed how far away the Dolphins are from winning when it mattered. Ain't that the truth? Ain't that the truth? Hey, Preston. How you doing, bud? Meadow says Canada practice lines include McDavid with Reinhardt and Marner as the top. Yeah. 5 rounds. Yeah, that sounds a little bit, because if you got to divide it, so 16 to 8 to 4 to 2, so 32 would make sense. Yeah, 32, 16, 8, 4, 2, and then the final, something like that. Sniggle Boss. The hell is Sniggle Boss? So, Flo, you okay? Thanks for joining us, Preston. Steven says one of the worst anthems and halftime shows in your memory. So, interesting story about that. No, I didn't watch the halftime show. I saw it, but I muted it because I was talking. I am not interested. So, but I might have told you this story before, and it happened again this time on America the Beautiful. Is that the one that they sang? They sang before the anthem. Anyway, there's this company that goes around fake copywriting claims, songs like Star Spangled Banner, America the Beautiful, things like that. They'll put a copyright claim on your YouTube video if it's audible, and the only way to dispute you have to dispute the claim, and if they don't respond in 30 days, then the claim is released and you get to keep the income from your video. But they do it on these big events like this, and they'll make themselves tens of hundreds of thousands of dollars from creators like me, who maybe it's $5 I'm going to make on that video, ad revenue wise. So some people won't even file the claim, dispute the claim. And if you don't dispute the claim, then this company gets the money. YouTube knows about it, then they don't do anything about it. So the point is that the football video, because we had it audible, we had America Beautiful and the anthem audible, got copyright claimed. So I got to wait 30 days. The company will never respond to this dispute, and then I'll get the money back. But it's a scam, man. It's an absolute scam. YouTube knows about it, and they don't care. So this company goes around, they're making themselves a good living, just fake copyright claiming stuff. What a world we live in, right? The anthem. What was the anthem? Oh, the anthem was Oh yeah, it was the one guy from New Orleans, right? Yeah. I thought the first group was okay. I've never been a fan, and this goes all the way back to when Daryl Hall did it at the World Series when he sang the national anthem. I've never been a fan of the people that put like a drum beat and like make it into like its own song with the instrumentation and all of that. I never liked that. I'm like, just sing the song. We don't need all the music and all the stuff in the background. Just sing the song. Hey, Chopper. He says, hey, look, I don't watch American football. I know some people here in Brazil love it, but I'm kind of glad the Eagles won. Yeah, that was a beautiful thing, right? What a beautiful game. I mean, just right from the get-go, right from the beginning, the Eagles just tore them up the whole damn game. Chiefs come out second half, they get the one first down, and you start thinking, oh, maybe, and then two sacks in a row for Philadelphia again. And that was it. Throw the roses away. Metal, you say you like an instrumental? Yeah, I mean, look, everybody's got their own tastes. To me, it distracts from the song, but that's just me personally. Vincent says, dial Zito, wake him up. I can sing him a song. Zito's gonna wait to the very end. I have a feeling a little bird suggested this to me in my travels behind the scenes that Zito's going to wait to the last possible second, possibly, to get the cheapest possible deal. Kind of like the scalpers who got the tickets and like the game already started 2 minutes ago, and you're like, oh, whatever, just give me whatever you can take, whatever you can give. I have a feeling Zito might pull something like that. Of course, as soon as I say that, he'll drop a deal in the middle of this show just to make me look bad. So there's that. Hey, Silva. Yeah, I heard that, Rosado. Yeah. I know. It says Dolphins let Fangio go because our soft players didn't like him. I know. Fangio didn't want to be here anyway. He really wanted to be in Philadelphia the whole time, but the job wasn't open. So it was no, it sucked, but it was no big surprise that's exactly what happened there. Hines says the only thing the Chiefs did well was, yeah, unfortunately for you, having Barkley wrapped up, right? Vincent says that strategy gave him Schmidt. No good. I know. I mean, I get it. But it's not like we have the money to overpay anyway. Like, who are we going to compete with in terms of assets? Like we can't compete. And I don't really know that I want to now. And once now that I've seen what some of these kids that Zito is drafting, how they look, I don't want to give up on them. And I get what you're saying, Vincent. You wait to the last minute, but that's where we are, right? That's where we find ourselves. But we got the cup, so it's all good. I mean, this team as is should be at least in the Eastern Conference Finals. Like, we make no moves, we still should beat Tampa, Toronto, or Ottawa to get to the Eastern Conference Finals. And then we'll see what happens from there. Who are we going to face, right? Are the Canes going to keep Rantanen? I talk about that in the podcast today. Canes might have to move on from Rantanen because they're stupid. Anybody could tell you what was going to happen. The same thing happened last year. Why would Rantanen want to re-sign in Carolina? Yeah, I saw that, Chopper. The Vladdy Kolik Chuka Flat, whatever. I ain't even trying. Yeah, he got picked up by Pittsburgh. Poor guy. he's doomed to obscurity now. Yeah, Cade, Nosik has looked a little bit better. Right? Apparently, Tarasenko wants out of Detroit. Yeah, but he wasn't, not saying he was, he was a nice addition last year. We don't need him. We don't need him this year. I'm very, very comfortable with the top 9 as it is. When we're at the point where you can't fit Bolquist and Rodriguez in the top 9, and you got to pick one of them to go to the 4th line. That's pretty good. Steven says, I went to a hockey store up here towards Toronto, almost entirely Leafs jerseys. So I asked the employees where they keep the good jerseys. He didn't get it. That's funny. That's funny. Vincent says, what's worse for this team, losing the Stanley Cup final or first round? First round exit. Yeah, man, can't do that. If can't do that. I mean, I would hate to lose the Stanley Cup finals again, but first round exit sort of diminishes a little bit what we did for the 2 years in a row. If you at least make it to the finals 3 years in a row, that in and of itself is a pretty unique accomplishment with an 82-game season, right? I mean, it still hasn't happened in a full 82-game season, making it the 3 in a row since the Oilers in the 80s. Julian says, I don't know if I could cheer against the Panthers, also known as Finland, but go USA, right? Steven says, people keep saying they'd rather have Noah Dobson over Bennett be a trade. I don't agree. Bennett with Chucky is dynamite, especially in the playoffs. Yeah. No, you have to re-sign Bennett. It don't make any sense that you picked up Chucky and you put him with Bennett and you see how it's gone. It just wouldn't make any sense. Now, it's a little bit concerning that we haven't had a deal done yet. But, you know, I hope they get it done. I really, they need to get it done. I can't imagine that they would trade him though, because I don't think any kind of a trade like that is going to help us this year at all. Yeah, exactly, Chopper. Right. Rosado says Nosek for Achari, Nosek and Sordif for Bouvier. The problem the problem is then who's it? You know, I don't know, man. I mean, not that anybody's going to want Nosek anyway. He's not worth anything at this point. Rosado says, what's up with the Ekblad extension? I think that's all Bennett's going to come first, right? Bennett, Samoskevich, and then whatever pennies we have left for Aaron Ekblad, that's what he gets. That's what he's going to get. You know, you got to get those two signed up, Bennett and Samoskevich. That locks up the top 6. It almost locks up the top 9, really. You know, we will have options if we want to move around Luosterainen or Rodriguez, but especially not this upcoming season, but the following season. Even if Bob extends at some point, we're going to have so much money. We're going to have so much money. Vincent says, no, are you nuts? Stanley Cup loss will destroy this team. Early exit will give them a mental break, so they got to pull through all the way. We disagree. You're nuts. First of all, I'm the one with the $800 electric bill. They need to make the finals again. We'll start there. Secondly, I'm not in the mood to stream playoff games after the Panthers have been eliminated. Again, they need to make the finals. And thirdly, I think they can win again. I think they got just enough juice from Samoskevich, Bolquist. Rodriguez still has fresh legs. I think they can win again. You know, I'm not looking at anything but that, honestly. No, can't win the cup every year, but they can win 2 in a row. Put Ekblad out there to beat the drum. Yeah, exactly, Kate. I'm not betting against this team until they're eliminated. You know, let's put it this way. We've never been eliminated with Tkachuk on the ice. I'm just saying. We have never been eliminated with Kachuk on the ice. Put that in your pipe and smoke it. You know? Just saying. Some guys raise the energy of the level of the team to a point. Did you see him out there against his brother the other day? Everything is still there with this team. The only question is going to be, do we have the energy to go all the way through again? And, that's going to depend on, each individual game during the playoffs. Do we stay healthy? Do we blow any leads and lose a game and have to play an extra game here, an extra game there? That's the little stuff that's going to add up. And can we clinch the division before those last two back-to-back games? We finished the season with back-to-back, and we can clinch the division before that, give guys just a little bit of rest. Not too much, but just a couple of days. Hit the first round fresh and running, play like we're capable of. 5 games, maybe 6, not have any 7-game series. I think they can manage it. If any team can do it, the Panthers pulled it off. Chopper says if there aren't any bums like Kolasar to break Chucky's sternum, we might pull this off. And health is going to be the biggest thing, right? Health is going to be the biggest thing. Meadow says, I think Florida versus Ottawa is in the first round. I don't know. No, you're right. Yeah, I agree with you. Yeah, I was looking at it. I think Florida, Toronto, Tampa, Ottawa. Yeah. And Omar has been so inconsistent. Now, so has Bob. Who's Ottawa's backup goalie? Cade says, no jumping elbows will also help a great deal to the player's health as well. Yeah. Hey, as long as, look, the thing with Kolasar, Chucky didn't need to plaster Jack Eichel into next month. You know what I mean? He didn't have to. I understand you're playing hard, Stanley Cup final and all of that, but if you're going to do that to a dude like Eichel, who's had injury issues in the past, you had to know, Chucky, somebody was coming for you. Hate to say it, but that's the sport, right? He what is that? Live by the sword, die by the sword, right? If he doesn't plaster Eichel in the next month, Kolasar probably never does that to Chucky. And we were this close to getting the series tied in game 4. Was it game? Yeah, game 4. Yeah. Rudolph says Calgary. I don't know if Calgary is going to pull it off, man. They've lost some games. Vancouver's back in that spot. Business says, yeah, Tampa's 2 points behind the fallen Leafs. They're going to jockey for second and third. I think the Panthers are going to win the division. Every time they've turned it on this year, they've looked really good. You know what I mean? We haven't turned it on for very many games, but don't forget the Edmonton game that we won 2-1. And every time this team has given the energy that we know they're capable of using, of playing with, they've really looked good. You see Bobrovsky out there the other night, made 2 insane saves. It's all still there, man. Good time to be a fan of this team. It really is. Zito has done just, when I looked at it the other week on the members podcast, and I saw just the work that he's done. When you take the raising of the salary cap into consideration, and you see basically that once we take care of Bennett and Sam Miskevich, the top 9 is set. Certainly the top 6 long term, and the top 9 is in a position where if we want to upgrade over Luster-Reiner and Erod, we can, but we're going to have so much money. It's a beautiful thing. Chopper says, imagine if we end up in Ottawa round 1, we sweep them, and then Brady has a mental lapse and says, I can't do this anymore. Please trade me to Florida every retained salary. Oh, my God. Can you imagine those guys in the same team? They have to be on different lines, though, because they have to compete against each other. So I guess you put Brady on the 3rd line. What are you going to do? Move Hagee down? Barkov, Reinhardt, Kachuk, Bennett, Kachuk, Samoskevich, Lundell, Verhage, Rodriguez, with Luosterainen at 4C. We can all dream, right? I don't know where we're going to get the money to do. Well, I guess if they retain the salary. I can't imagine what we'd have to give up, right? In our imaginary fantasy land. That's not what I wanted to do. I figured there would be, no. I can't afford to take vacation. Are you kidding me? I can't afford to take vacation. I took vacation at Christmas time, right? Rosado says, I got really lucky, man. I had 1 year of the old Panthers. Yeah. Right? Kachuk, Bennett with Kachuk would be the most hated line of all of hockey. No doubt. No doubt, man. Can the other teams sue us for physical abuse? Vincent says, Avs look ready to compete. Yeah. Nishis is fitting right in. That was a stupid move by Carolina. That was just dumb. When the trade went down and I saw the comment section, a lot of the Carolina fans, kind of like we were talking about with Hubert, going, he's not going to take over your team and take them to the playoffs. A lot of the Carolina fans' opinion was that Nishis would do just fine in Colorado. And the Canes keep doing the same thing. They think they're going to get some hired gun that's going to put them over the edge, but it's the system that they play. They're still only going to get 2 goals a game. It don't make any, NHL and aviation. Yes, Tampa made it 3 in a row in 2022, but no team has made it 3 in a row with full 82-game seasons since the 80s Oilers. So while I don't take anything away from Tampa, it's a lot less games, a lot less wear and tear that they had, especially when you take into consideration the long break that their bodies had to heal before, after the COVID break and everything like that. It was there's just no way around it. You know what I mean? They won, they get full credit, but the wear and tear on the bodies is just not the same. Charles says, I'll get there in a second, Rosario. Charles says, but I think the Eagles were that good or the Chiefs sucked that bad. I think the Eagles were that good. If you just watch the replays the Eagles are rushing 4, and everybody, including Kelsey, was just getting pushed around. That was a complete domination by the Eagles' defensive line, just brutally, disastrously pushing around the Chiefs' offensive line. The rest of it was, the Eagles couldn't really run the ball, right? Hurts was good, but he was good, but it was that Eagles defensive line. Just Chiefs couldn't do anything. Quite literally, they couldn't do anything until the end. All right, Rosado, what do you got? Luosterainen, Ekblad, Sordiff, Kiersted, second, 2, 4, 5. Oh my gosh. There's no way that Ottawa would never do that. That's not enough. That's not enough. Luosterainen is a bottom 6 player. Ekblad is a bottom pair defenseman. Sordiff is unknown. Kiersted is barely an 8, and then a 2, a 4, and a 5th. You're giving them a lot of quantity, but they're going to want somebody. They're going to want something better than that in return. There's no way you're getting a Brady Tkachuk in there without a Samoskevich or maybe a Sachin and a 1 thrown in. That's our trash. We're just giving them our trash. Sorry, Ekblad and Luosterainen. No offense, but you know what I mean. Maybe not. Trash is a tough word. Expendables. Yeah, that's better. Yeah. Yeah, Mahomes couldn't throw the ball, right? And Chopper says Ekblad, Sachin, Sordiff, and a 27 first, 20%. That's a little bit more realistic. That's Chopper's deal is a little bit more realistic. We're not going to get Not going to get Brady Tkachuk without a prospect that we don't want to part with in a first at minimum. And Ekblad, we're just begging. Ekblad, is that of a benefit for us or for them? You know what I mean? Right? Steven says they'd want Lundell Knight and Sam Miskevich. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Right? Yeah, I forgot the Knight part. Yeah. It wouldn't even be worth having the discussion. We got lucky, guys. Okay. I actually talked about this in the podcast today for the members. The fact that Tkachuk wanted out of Calgary, and here's this unicorn dude that can change a whole team's culture. And we had the assets that could acquire that player without blowing up the team. It's a damn near 1,000,000 to 1 shot that those two things aligned. And it happened to be we were the team that Chucky would have wanted to go to. You know what I mean? It just how incredibly lucky we got that situation presented, and we had the assets to give Calgary, and we could still be a better team losing those assets. It just so rarely happens that way. It just so rarely happens that way. Funny thing, for no apparent reason this morning at like 10:30, the Hockey Guys video, a little 3-minute video of the Tkachuk Huberdeau trade just came up right there on my Next Up feed. I watched it too. Because I like the comment section. Everybody thought we got fleeced. Everybody thought we got fleeced. Hockey Guy he thought Calgary won the trade. He didn't say we got fleeced, but he definitely felt like we won the trade. But the comment section overall was like pro Calgary. They all thought they got the best of us for sure. Yeah, Chucky got tired of the coal, right? Yeah, and now the Flames are out of a spot again. They might not make it again. Yeah, which statue do we build though? Barkov, Tkachuk, Reinhardt, Bob. We just need a team sculpture. You know what I mean? NHL says, I feel like Brady is such a reach. There was some noise with him and the Rangers, and it didn't work. I feel like the only big player that could be on the move would be Pettersson, but that's even reaching. Rantanen might be gone, though. If the Canes can't sign Rantanen, they're going to flip him. They have to. They can't let the same thing happen. What the hell was the guy that the dude that went to Tampa? Gensel. They can't let the same thing happen with Gensel again. But they send Rantanen back to the Western Conference in a team that's going to compete with Colorado. Watch that happen. Now, why did they think he was going to re-sign with them? It'd be like trading a fantastic running back to a team that never wants to run the ball. It was stupid. Vincent says, don't forget that Bob was the first big name player to come with the idea to win and made it happen. That's a good point, Vincent. That's a good point. He didn't have to come here. The $10 million didn't hurt. The $10 million didn't hurt, right? And look, like I always say, man, we give Zito all the credit in the world and he deserves it. But Dale Talon's fingerprints are all over this whole thing. Bobrovsky is Talon. Knight is Talon. Barkov is Talon. Huberdeau and Weegar were Talon. We turned them into Tkachuk, right? Was it Zito that made the Trocheck trade? It was Zito, right? That made the Trocheck trade because that's where we got Luosterainen. Or was that Talon before the end? Vincent, I talk about that on the podcast, exactly that today. Ranting into Vegas. I mean, if anybody can make something crazy like that happen, Vegas will send anybody packing, right? Exactly, NHL. They have to flip them. They have to flip them. I don't know why they thought he would. I mean, you would have thought they learned their lesson last year, right? And Nicias is perfect for Colorado. I mean, Colorado got better. They got better. Not a great move for Carolina at all, my opinion. I mean, hindsight now. Steven says Kachuk changed everything. That was probably the biggest trade in NHL history. Complete pivot of the franchise. And I'm getting, and don't forget, we got Maurice, right? We got Maurice right before that. I mean, that whole summer was just absurd, man. All happened at once. And, you know, we haven't lost a playoff series since. We lost Stanley Cup final, but we haven't lost a playoff series. I mean, it sounds crazy to say it. All those years we couldn't win a damn series. So I'm just enjoying it. Craig says, one of the entire first Cup team photo statue would be a cool photo. Yeah. That's a good point, Steven. Chucky made Barkov even more physical. He just raises the whole level of everybody. You know, that's why instead of, well, I mean, we're never going to get Brady Tkachuk. Somehow we have to set up a situation where Chucky feels like he's competing against Brady every night. Silva says, when Rantanen integrates into Carolina's system, it'll look like a great trade. But remember, Nishis has just been told, we're putting you next to the second best center in the NHL, not go crazy. Well, that's true. Right. But, well, that's what I mean. He's primarily being put into a defensive system. I don't think he's going to want to resign. That's all I'm saying, is I don't think he's going to want to resign. You know? I mean, he can go anywhere he wants. Everybody knows the cap is going up. Why would he want to, why would he want to stay in Carolina, team that hasn't won yet, team that's been on that bubble all these years? It just doesn't seem like why he would. Yeah. Oh, no. Okay, Silver. Yeah. Yeah, no, I get it. I just think that in the terms of, you got to know yourself, right? Carolina should have known. Like, I wonder if Colorado let them talk to him beforehand. Because remember, with Chucky, we basically had the contract, the extension. It was a done deal before the trade was made. But it sounds like, because I'm reading a couple of things, sound like Carolina having the same problem that Colorado was having. And with the cup going up, Rantanen wants $14 million. Somebody's going to give it to him, right? And if you were him, would you take 12 to stay in Carolina or go play the free agent market? I mean, Draisaitl just got 14, you know? Vincent says, so far, Nishis and Rantanen look like variables. The constant is McKinnon. Agreed. Yeah, agreed. No doubt. Should we stream Heat games? No, I can't stream basketball, right? Silva, there was an article, I believe it was in The Athletic. I covered it a couple of days ago in the members podcast. That's the number they're talking about with McDavid is 20. 20. And I made the point, Barkov and Reinhart together don't even make 20. Who would you rather have? McDavid or Barkov and Reinhart? I mean, it's an easy call for me. Yeah, Barkov, Reinhart, and pick any $1 million player, and that's still not $20 million. Ranting into the Panthers. No, we're good. We're good. Craig says Carolina handcuffs elite offensive guys, which is weird because Florida plays a defensive style first, and it seems very offensive at times. I think because Florida just has so much pure offensive talent, should they choose to use it. Like Barkov, if Barkov wanted to play, I mean, the 1 year we had running gun, he almost had 40 goals. If Barkov decided to be offensive first, he could get 50 goals. Reinhart, we know, can get 50 goals. Verhaeghe could get 50 goals. Chucky and Bennett should at least be 30, 35 goals. If you're talking about putting them in an offensive system. How many guys do the Canes have like that? They just don't. Exactly, Cade. Reinhardt and Barkov, hands down. Yeah. NHL says, imagine if the Oilers trade Hyman or dare I say Draisaitl. I wonder what their stats would drop to considering they're no longer with McDavid. And that's what happened to Huberdeau. Huberdeau was either with Barkov or Bennett, and he just benefited greatly from that. He's looking a little bit better now. But yeah, I mean, that happens, right? I really believe Zito is going to do what we need to do to keep him. Now that we know the cap is going up, if you look at the team's long-term prospects with the cap increase in perspective, there's no reason we shouldn't re-sign Bennett unless he's really unless he's wanting something close to 8.5, 9 for 8 years. I mean, if Bennett is wanting, even if he wants $7 million for 6 years, that might be a touch of an overpayment. But considering our situation, you do it, because why not? If we have the money to do it, you know what I mean? So somewhere between 6 and 7 for 5 or 6 years, I would think would be the compromise, unless Bennett is wanting a full 8, which that's going to be tough. That will be tough. Gonzalez says sign Samuel for $2 million for 7 years. Not quite. Yeah, Bennett wants to stay. And you know Chucky wants him to stay. And, you know, Bennett has to look at his line mates and realize he's got Kachuk here and he's got Sam Miskevich over here. And I tell you, Sam Miskevich, by next year, another full training camp, full year of experience. He's going to put on a little bit more weight and strength, learning to play from Bennett and Kachuk. I mean, this is going to be nasty. It's going to be nasty, and Bennett has to know that, you know. NHL says, speaking of trades, do I expect any big trades over the Four Nations break? And if you have, and guesses, well, I don't think there's going to be any big moves. Somebody here earlier, a couple shows ago, made the point of imagine being at the Four Nations tournament and you're playing for Florida and you get traded and you never go back to the team and now you're in Detroit or something like that. You might see some smaller moves. I think it might be a good time for everybody to I think there'll be a lot of phone calls, a lot of conversations. I think it'd be, the elongated break will give some teams time to really have more conversations, which is probably going to lead to higher prices, Now, Serfashi, that's correct. We need another fourth line center simply because we have nothing behind. Even if you're going to play Nosek, there's nothing behind them. So that does have to happen, unless you're going to pick up another bottom, unless you're going to get another winger that can take over for Luosterainen, and you're going to move Luosterainen as possible 4C depth. And, that could happen, but you still got to have a spot for him, and there's really no spots in the top 9. Right now, what we need is, Okposo and Lorentz-ish, not those two exact guys, but we need guys that can come off the bench. Like somebody said before, who's the oldest guy in the NHL without a cup that can still skate? Greg says no moves will happen. Yeah, probably not. I mean, you might see something small, prospects, fourth liners, guys but no, nothing big, I wouldn't think. John Klingberg, nah. Yeah, Chikrin's not going anywhere. Yeah. Get Okposo out of retirement. I can't imagine how slow he is now at this point, right? I'm sure he is not put on the skates, although I don't know. I don't know what some of those guys do that first year out of retirement. Do you still go to the rink? Rudda is out there in San Jose. Maybe. Craig, that was you about the oldest cup less guy. Yeah, it's truth, right? Get Kyle Clutterbuck. As long as we don't get Trey's favorite player. What's his name? The dude that Corey Perry. Yeah, Corey Perry. Hey, Kenneth, how you doing, bud? Bring back Jumbo. If chicken came back to puppet, the Florida, the pup would have to be shared. You just get another chicken. You get a chicken and a rooster. You had to get a chicken and a rooster. They fight. Or two roosters. Can't put the rooster. That's Brady and Chucky if you had two roosters. Steven says we could always swipe up a player from our minors. Buffalo Sabres for him too. Right? Oh, my God. No, I mean, the other game against Ottawa, Schmidt and Billis just looked okay, right? You got to figure we're going to make a move. Really, the biggest question is, are we just looking at the fourth at the bottom pair? Like, are we sticking with Mikhail Kulikov? I mean, they're pretty good together. That play Kulikov made the other game. I talked about this, but I've not seen the level of hockey IQ that it takes for him to lay down, and he blocks the possible shot with his body and then sticks out the stick to block the pass, and that's what ends up blocked. I mean, the dude, it's really a shame he wasn't here his entire career. He would have been a good guy to be one of those guys that we drafted and developed and kept the whole time. So, which is part of the reason why I'm not so sure they ever want to move on from Ekblad, But Kulikov is just playing so well right now. I just don't feel like breaking up that pair unless we're just going to go like batshit crazy and get a whole new second pair and make Mikhail Kulikov the bottom pair, right? Vincent says just get Wallman and Rudda from the Sharks and be done with it. Yeah, just get one whole pair. Pente, who said ranting on Florida? Does somebody in the chat say that? Rosado, apparently it's just a decal on the glass. That's what True said. True said it was just a decal on the glass. Savard, there's a lot of names out there, but how many of them were genuinely upgrades over what we have? You know what I mean? You're giving up assets for the upgrade. All right, Chopper, hold on. Oh. He says, imagine Keith Kachuk delivering hits the size he is right now. Jesus. No thanks. No thanks. Yandel's still doing TV. I would assume Yandel's still doing TV. Kyle is still asleep. That son of a bitch is still asleep. And I got like 2 hours worth of pack and ship I got to do when this is over at 1 o'clock, and he's still in there snoring. I got to do the eBay work. I got to go to the grocery store to make sure that Cinderella princess over here has food, and he's still sleeping. I wonder what time he went to bed. NHL says a good fit for Florida might be Brock Nelson, as much as I don't want the Isles to sell and keep trying to make the playoffs. All right, Jobber. Thanks, bud. That's a name. Can he still skate? NHL, can he still skate? I mean, but that is a good, fourth line depth piece for sure. You got to assume the Isles are going to sell at some point. How long are they going to keep dragging that corpse of a team around, NHL? Like they're not coming back. They need to like, start over. They need to pull a Detroit ish. Vincent says, would Yandel be an upgrade over Jaws? Still taking calls to trade this guy. Yandel's beard is probably thicker. He's got better hair, I'm sure. But sometimes chicks are into ball guys. What can you do? Oh, Rosado talked about it. Yeah, no, we don't want Rantanen. Yeah. Mason, no, he's got one more year. Kenneth says Islanders have 8-year contracts all over the place. So he's great. He's slowed down a smidge from last season, but still great. Yeah, Pente. Rosado, yeah, I don't know. We definitely don't want Rantanen. Do we think Brady eventually retires with the Sens? If they don't win, I don't know. That's a really good question. I mean, if he wants to stay. But at some point, let's put it this way. I think Brady will be one of those guys. He starts getting to 32, 33 years old. If Ottawa's never won, they may trade him to a contender just so he has a chance to maybe win. Like if he doesn't win in a few years, maybe if the Panthers are still kicking around, maybe he gets traded to play with his brother towards the end of his career, see if they can make some kind of magic happen later on in their career. What's the age difference? Who's older? Somebody look that up. What's the age difference? Which one is the older brother? Crosby's good to go for 4 nations. You kind of figured that would have to happen, right? He can't miss that. Rosado, you think McDavid doesn't stay with the Oilers? I think it would be Draisaitl, although $14 million. These contracts are going to start keeping guys with their teams, right? Ekblad Rodriguez for Nelson. That's way too much. That's way too much for a 4th liner. Why would we trade Rodriguez? Rosado, what are you smoking? Aren't you supposed to be at school? Vincent says Rantanen has a cup. He can sign with the Wilder Hawks for like $16 million and they won't blink. Exactly. And that may be where he ends up if Carolina's going to trade him. Nelson would be more like a 3rd liner, but not on the Panthers. I mean, I guess if you're going to move Luosterainen down, we don't have room for that though. I'm just saying on our team, he's a 4th liner, Rosado. We're not messing with the top 6. Maybe you'd put him if you trade E-Rod, but why would we want to do that? Why would we want to do that? We need to add depth. We need to add depth. And Cam says we need defense, not offense. Why would we trade E-Rod for E-Rod? Rosado says I should stick with Nola Chari. Matthew's older. Thank you, Steven. Yeah, so maybe if Tkachuk is, needs a little bit of family help, finish up and win the 5th cup, right? Now we're talking. Maybe Brady goes to Florida towards the end of his career. But no, I understand what you're saying about Nelson. I'm not saying he's a bad player. I'm just saying on our team, maybe 3rd line. You're not going to put him in the top 6, not with what we got going on. Yeah, exactly, Rosado. The 5th cup. First we win 3 in a row. Then we finally lose. Then we win another one. Then another couple of years go by. And then Brady's sick and tired of losing in Ottawa. And he comes to Florida and wins the 5th cup with his brother. That sounds about right. Yeah, I mean, if you wanted Nelson on the 3rd line and move Luosterainen down, that's fine. I got no problem with that. But with our top 6, it's just like I don't want to touch that. But you can't give up E-Rod or Luosterainen because, I mean, you might be improving a little bit one guy over the other, obviously, but we need guys. We need players. And like Pente saying, Lusterinen is very versatile, right? And so is Erod. Yeah, he plays on every line and is good on every line. Now Vincent says, now Lundell does need a proper winger, though, not today, but shouldn't that be maybe Sachin or St. Martin, Vincent? Wouldn't you think that would be the next logical move at some point there? Are those kids lefties or righties? I mean, he can move guys around either way. NHL says the Isles apparently offered Nelson a 3-year deal, which I don't want to happen because that means our team is just going to stay old and in the past. Thanks, Lou. Yeah, that's what I mean. It's like you look at the roster, and I'm like, these are the same dudes. It's like I haven't paid attention to the Islanders in 5 years. I still know half the guys in the team. You know what I mean? It's like, come on. Pente says Lundell is okay with current line mates. He won't get star wingers like he's like third center. But here's the thing, Pente. I talked about this on a members podcast a few days ago. When Bob's contract comes up and the cap goes up, we're going to have so much money to spend, especially if Bob either retires or takes a pay cut to extend but Panthers are going to have so much money to spend. Top 6 already locked up if they sign Bennett and Samoskevich. We're going to have money to burn. Like we're going to have money to be able to get some decent players if we wanted to fill, if we wanted to make the Lundell line a second line, we're going to have the money to do that in a couple of years. So I get what you're saying, but it's either that or we're going to have 3 top pairs on the defense. The cheapness of the contracts that these guys sign in regards to how the cap is going to go up. I mean, we got some bargains when you look at where we're going to be in a couple of years. And yeah, exactly. Lusterinen and Erod are great with their contracts. They're great with the contracts, but also if we wanted to move them, they're very, very movable deals. I mean, Zito's done such a good job with that. Vincent said you can see Sachin. Yeah, he's a right-handed shot. There you go. Yeah. That's the thing, man. Zito, so far, the guys that have come up and played that Zito's picked, Lundell and Samoskevich, he's 2 for 2. God, what a difference it is having a good GM. Ben, you said to you, Lusterinen is untouchable. Well, it's just going to be a matter of, are we going to want to pay him or somebody else when that contract comes up? He probably won't be due too much of a raise. But I mean, yeah, if Lundell Lusterinen stay together for the whole period of time, I got no problem with that. NHL says absolutely they need to retool about Harvard, Barzal, Duke, right? Thanks to Pente. No, I know it's beautiful. It's beautiful. Because we got any of these deals now. I mean, when you look at they're talking about Rantanen getting $14 million, and then you look at what Sam Reinhart signed for. Dude fixing to have 2 straight 50-goal seasons. Probably going to get more Selke votes again this year. 14 million or 8.6. You know what I mean? That's Reinhart and Lundell for about what Rantanen might get. What Rosado say? Some people were saying if it wasn't for Dale, we wouldn't have won the cup. Well, I mean, I do give Talon credit. You have to give Talon some credit. Talon is responsible for Luongo, Bobrovsky, and Spencer Knight. He's responsible for Barkov, Ekblad. He's responsible for Huberdeau and Weegar that got us Kachuk. I mean, there's a lot of pieces. There's a lot of pieces there that Talon's responsible for. Was he perfect? No. But remember, the owners kind of, dinged his plan there a little bit. The owners kind of meddled a little bit there when they were still learning how the hell to handle themselves. But just the goalies, you think he was talking about you saying Barkov for McDavid? Yeah. That's delusional. That's delusional. Cam says Talon was a great GM, but he never had a shot with ownership. Yeah, he too was a first team guy, not money. I get you. Yeah, Mike Matheson. Oh yeah, no doubt. Matheson, Strawman, the Dave Bolin thing. Oh God, the Dave Bolin thing, right? And that cost us Lawson Krause. He made some mistakes, no doubt. No doubt, he made some mistakes. But there's pieces on the team that, he brought in. So Zito gets the credit that he deserves for sure, but we did all right. You know what I mean? Yeah, that was my question. Yeah, and he made a good choice picking Barkov. Exactly. Yeah, remember, people weren't exactly thrilled with that choice when he made it. Was Talon the Trocheck trade, Rosato? I couldn't remember. Was it Talon? Because it was right after they gave Barkov to C, right? Yeah, or over Seth Jones, right? Imagine that. Is that right, Pente? There's a funny story about the Panther scout drafting Barkey. It was the middle of 2020. So that would have been Dale. That would have been Zito. Right? Because Zito came in at 19, right? Yeah. That's right. He was right? It all runs together. He said, you need to draft this player or I resign. There you go. See? Thank you, Dale. Thank you, Dale. We only have the best two-way player in the game now. Right? That's a good story. Vincent says Ekblad's being traded, or was it a dream? It was a good dream. Talon was Pissick and Petrovic. Yeah. Yep. Oh, yeah. The expansion draft. That's the one thing with Talon, and that is unforgivable. Unforgivable. Oh, man. But we made it right. We made it right. We got our cup. So did Marchessault and Smith. No, that Pete, I didn't know that story. I did not know that story. That's funny. Yeah, Pesic. Yep. Oh, that expansion draft. Yeah, I guess it kind of worked out for everybody, right? The expansion draft. The thing about that expansion draft, I'll always say it. I was bitching about it for years, and people got sick of hearing me bitch about it, and said that I needed to stop worrying about Marchessault and Smith because it had no effect on us. Don't worry about it. They're gone. They're not on the team. Marchessault and Smith have no effect on us. That's what Twitter told me. Yeah. How'd that work out? That's like trying to tell a Giants fan, don't worry about it. Saquon has no effect over you now, right? So Talon traded Trocheck. Thank you, Steven. Yeah. So Luosterainen. Yeah. Pente, I believe it, man. There was a lot of egos. There was a lot of egos going on there, Pente. That's how Gallant ended up fired. That's how Gallant ended up getting fired. It wasn't hockey. It wasn't hockey. It was some stuff that stretched back to the Islander series with him and Vinny. And Vinny was just looking. And the slightest, smallest reason to fire Gallant. He didn't want to do it before the season, because they just made the playoffs. But the first little hiccup, he was ready to fire Gallant. And it worked out. It worked out, right? You've been watching Sasha since he was 16 years old? Nice. Yeah, you had to be happy when we drafted him. Good thing. Imagine Seth Jones instead. No, thank you. No, thank you. Rosati says we could have won with Gallant. He's the best finished player you've ever seen. He's just so damn steady. Like if he makes a bad play, like everybody's just like in shock. You know. Rosato, I don't know. Well, I do know what it is with Gallant, but I guess the winning isn't enough. Everywhere he goes, he almost wins, right? And then they get rid of him anyway. It's weird. All right, I got to roll, guys. I got a big day of eBay Pack and Ship. The members podcast is recorded. That's going to be up here in about 15 minutes. And then if I can get all my work done in time this afternoon, I'll sit and I will edit up the skit video. And that should be out. I'm hoping to have it out between 5 and 6. Hopefully it doesn't take me too long to do. And, the Rangers got rid of him for the same thing. Shafashi, 100%. 100%. Yep. So, all right. Appreciate all the support. And somebody had asked, we're streaming the 4 nations. We're covering all of the games, doing recaps for all of the games. Everything is going to be treated just like it's Panther games. So, and then as we get on after the break, we're going to be starting to stream some other games that aren't just Panther games. Some of those times it might just be me and here streaming the games just to have some extra content. Try to grow the channel a little bit and have some streams with games that aren't Panthers but are playoff implications. So, all right, everybody, appreciate all the support. And I will see you all mañana, noon again. I see that, Rosado. Tennis. Fine, fluffy tennis.